So we left off, and you have wandered into the woods.
Yes.
With your spider stick.
Yes.
And put the spider into a tree. I believe is that correct? Is that what we did?
Well, we're trying to find her the best tree.
Okay. So we still haven't deposited the spider yet. Okay. So let's start by rolling for a good tree. Be a nature check.
Okay. Nature. +3. Okay. Dirty 20.
And you can roll with advantage because the spider would be helping you.
19. So yeah, dirty 20.
So are you looking for a tree, or are you looking for a good place to put a spider?
A good place for a spider's nest to be.
Okay.
She doesn't all her babies.
Right. So off in the distance, let's say over, I guess, slightly to your right of where you're standing, there is. I was going to give you a piece of information before we started. So you are standing outside this dwarven town, right?
Okay.
You've just crossed over kind of through a desert past a bit of a lake.
Mm-hmm.
The lake is kind of draining down, and you started walking like, where is this thing going?
Yeah.
But in front of you, like you hear this crackling sound, and I believe it was 6 dwarves jumped out and just kind of started running towards the front door. And it was loud, and they were happy, and like they're all speaking dwarvish, right? Like grunts and gurgles.
Yeah.
And then just as the crackly portal starts to close, you see a. Go ahead and describe yourself.
So she's a large Goliath, for what you can tell,
Okay.
in silver and gold plate armor, riding a big black mastiff.
Okay.
And apparently right now carrying like a stick with a bunch of bugs.
All right. I like it.
I forgot that you took your it's not a mastiff, it's a
Clydesdale?
Clydesdale.
Clydesdale.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a Clydesdale.
Mastiff!
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like,
too.
I was like, that's a big mastiff.
It's a Goliath on the mastiff.
That'd be awesome.
Right?
That's my next upgrade.
Yeah. War mastiff.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes tromping through, and I would say instinctively you're gonna probably hide because this thing looks huge and scary.
Yep.
So give me a stealth.
All right. Nothing extra special. So we're looking at 22.
Nice. So you duck underneath some bushes and like pull them down.
Yes.
And you are hidden.
Yeah.
So you are looking for a place to stick this branch.
Yes.
In front of you, so off to your right, and kind of, let's say a mile or two, maybe down. So to your right, you see this stone, like the stone entrance to, like it looks like a palace entrance, but it's carved right into the hard rock. Above it, there are these like caves.
Oh.
And you see flying in and out of the caves these winged cat-like creatures with riders. and they're coming in, and they're like flying out, and it looks like they're kind of in, like, with your military background, like you recognize these are like formation drills of like patrols, right?
Yeah.
And they're just kind of flying around. I mean, it's interesting, but it's not a spider on a stick,
Yeah.
right? So, so happy to say that. But off to your right, you see some there's like a lake kind of in the distance. Like it's a bit of an open area here. Like that open space that you have like in front of a city. That is intended to repel intruders. So if they have to like attack, they got a big open space they got to be spread out on. And the river is flowing kind of like behind you. And if you kind of look over, you can see that there's like a little bridge there. That I mean, it's not like a impassable river. It's just it's a trade bridge. Your boyfriend dwarf is running towards the front door. Boyfriend dwarf, the dwarf who accosted you last night over beer and stales.
I feel like there's a big distinction between those.
Yeah, well, I probably shouldn't use the word boyfriend, or boyfriend is maybe the right way. And to your left there is a dense pine forest. Ferns covering the ground, a lot of like bushes there. I'm going to ask you, what do you consider to be good spider territory? You rolled high, so I could give you a hint. I could give you some thoughts. But where would you like to put this spider? Is I guess the question.
Not too high in a tree, but I'd want like somewhere in the middle where
Okay.
they could not get like pulverized by birds that are trying to land at the top.
Okay.
Somewhere where there is other trees close by, so then they could swing over if they needed to.
Okay. So.
Yeah, that's all I got so far.
Okay. So you're looking around and you see like the forest proper is pretty dense of like with heavy tree growth, but it looks like the trees have been pruned up a little bit again so that they can kind of see if somebody's walking through them, right? Like if there's a large army, they can see it coming through. But down by the river, or down by the stream, there's a little stream that comes, like goes into the river through the woods, and there is one tree there that looks like it is on the verge of death. It has like 3 or 4 little like spriggy clusters that are grown together, so it's kind of a dense mat of trees like in close proximity. But if you put the branch in there, ain't nothing gonna accidentally, or like it provides a lot of like tree cover, but it also provides a lot of structure for a web, so that if there's gonna be bugs flying around close to the river, like bugs that are trying to reproduce, you can grab them.
Perfect.
Okay. So you see this massive Goliath on a Clydesdale, like pulling this horse, and the horse is like. The horse has just gone through this portal. The horse is a little bit startled, right? So she's kind of pulling this horse. Yeah. The horse is resisting, but like Goliath girl over here don't care, and just kind of like pulling the horse.
Yep.
But then like very carefully, like forcing this huge creature, but then very carefully setting this stick into the. See if you can tell if there's something on it. Would you be talking to her?
Yeah.
Okay, so you hear spidery sounds coming from the Goliath. See if you can see what she's talking to. Yeah.
Okay. 16.
Let's see. Oh, she literally walks almost right by you, right? Like she's like you almost have to be careful to like move out of the way so she doesn't step on you.
Okay.
So you're pretty close to her, and you can see
including the horse.
Right. Okay. Like I mean the horse, you rolled high enough, or you're stealthy enough that they didn't see you, because
my character would see the Goliath and be like, "What the heck is that?" But then the horse comes into view, and you would just be like, "Oh, what is that?" Might even whisper that, depending on.
Roll a Constitution save.
Okay, Constitution.
Hey,
Hey,
this
this
is
is.
itty bitty. Are you gonna be like earthquake here from us walking?
Well, it was a nat 1, but
Oh,
so it's a 7.
Yes!
I think the nat 1 probably.
Okay, so I want you. Let's see here. I want to know how focused you are on finding this location, right? So while you are walking, and the bush, effectively, what I'm trying to understand here is you're walking. A bush below you says fuzzy. I want to know if you hear it.
so I would be like half focused.
Let's do a perception check with disadvantage.
Okay. So that would have been a 23, and this one would be an 18.
18. So I would say, and this is I'm kind of going the opposite direction of the perception is like where you're focused.
Yeah.
So you rolled high enough to be focused on what you were doing.
Yeah.
That you didn't hear him say fuzzy. Okay, so you have just placed the stick. Now, what do you intend to do?
I'm going to go into town now.
Okay. What would you do?
How close is the Clydesdale to me? As she's putting the stick into the tree, I'm assuming this horse is relatively stationary.
It's relatively. I mean, you could probably get there if you wanted to pet it. Like you could get there.
Yeah, you would a little teeny arm, especially to a Goliath, just kind of reaches out from the bush and starts reaching and stretching as far as it can.
You gonna touch the horse?
Trying to.
Okay. Give me a nature check with disadvantage, because the horse is not expecting a hand to come out of the ferns. And you get to roll a d20.
Oh no. Oh, we got a 9.
Okay.
So that is a 6.
6. In conjunction with the 9. So you reach out. You get like a couple of seconds of like petting the leg on the horse.
Yeah.
And you let go of the reins just a little bit as you're kind of like stretching to put the thing in there and finishing up your conversation. Mm-hmm. The horse looks around and sees you and jumps. I need you to make a animal handling check to see if you keep your horse. Let's say it's a 16.
It's a 12. Oh no!
The horse is running through the woods.
Well, this is not starting up.
No, this is starting out exactly how these things go.
We're supposed to return that one. Get a loner horse.
I would like you to do a. God, what would it be? I want to see if you're startled by the fact that you startled the horse.
Okay.
Right, like if you're gonna like jump up or like inadvertently even like stand up and like where did the horsey go kind of a deal, right? Let's say it is an intelligence check.
Okay.
To whether or not you should try to stay hidden.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say, God, I'm gonna say 12. This is your DC.
12. Okay.
Yes.
Nat 20.
Nice. So quietly, you pull your arm back into the bush.
Yes.
What do you...
The eyes would focus on the, like as the horse ran off, just like.
So let's see. I don't think she's very fast when she's that big. I don't know.
What did you take as your last? You took fear, right? It was your last feat.
I think I've only gotten 1 feat.
Yeah, you got one on your last. Sticky. Okay.
1 total.
Okay.
Well, we're gonna try. We're gonna try
to run down the horse.
Yeah, we're gonna try. Do I have Longstrider? Where is my? Yeah, I have Longstrider.
Okay.
So I'll use Longstrider, and then I'll be going at 45.
Okay.
So then sprinting, I'd be at what, 90?
Yeah.
But just
So,
everything. And I'm like,
I'm not even going to try to do the math because I like the visual.
Yes.
So Clydesdale starts running down the side of the river, right? Like not in the river, but like kind of along the stream, along the edge. And you just go thunk, thunk, thunk. I'm going to ask you to do, so you're going to, what are we going to say? We're going to say you need to either do an athletics check or a grapple to attack this Clydesdale to get him to stop. You could try, so you're actually, I'll ask you, what would you like to do? Do you want to like tackle the Clydesdale where you might have a risk of like injuring a leg?
Yeah, I was thinking
or do you want to like grab him by the reins,
Yeah.
in which case you might have a risk of throwing them if you grab too hard? Because again, in a way, you're bigger than this Clydesdale.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to. I think she's dumb. She's just gonna try to like launch herself on it.
Nice. Okay, go for it.
Okay. So I can do strength or athletics. Oh. Okay. So that's still the same. You were a +2 or something. Oh no, that's an 8.
Oh, man.
Okay, so you lose a little bit of ground as you attempt, and like she sees you coming, and like now like she realizes that she's being chased by you, right? And so like she puts a little bit more effort into running.
I'm your rider.
You gonna get up and try again?
Yep.
Okay, let's
One more time.
One more.
And they're running in an opposite direction, or is this horse kind of like zigzagging back and forth? Would it all be coming back?
There is a whole bunch of forest like on this side. There's like a road and forest on this side,
Yep.
and there's a river and the road run parallel, kind of this way.
Okay.
So this horse is running down the river.
So he's staying on the road.
Staying across the river on the road.
Okay.
But
But he's not coming back to where I was in the bush.
doesn't seem
Okay.
to be right now. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You know what? Just because I think it would be entertaining, on her assault, I would like you to roll a D8.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and we're gonna say 1, 2, 3, all the way back around to 8, as to what direction the horse goes after the combat, or after the
Okay. 1.
1 continues going straight.
Okay.
No, I was like, oh, I have animal messenger. What does that do? It's like that can have an animal deliver a message. That's not gonna help with this. Okay, we're just gonna give it another good old college try here. Okay, there we go. That's a 19.
Okay. So on the second one, you have learned from your first mistake, and you try to grab kind of in two places. So you grab the bridle and the saddle,
Yeah.
and like, right,
Yeah.
basically just kind of sit down to calm them down. Horse is back in your possession.
Yay. Okay. Ooh, that was an adventure. So I like wrap the reins around my arm, and then I start leading it back to the entrance.
Okay. So here's what I don't want to railroad, but I do want to say something. So we're going to see when this happens. Give me a D. Let's say a D20 for do a D10. Do a D10 for how long it takes before you're going to have the encounter. 1. Perfect. This works out good. So, so as you're kind of walking the horse back, You see them coming in your direction.
Yep.
You hear kind of over your shoulder, this cart on the road. Okay, and in the cart there are two figures with their cloaks up. You kind of recognize them from like the night before.
Yeah.
They must have gotten on the road ahead of you. You didn't see them at the base of the bridge.
Yeah.
But you see them now, and you hear them talking because they're far enough away that they don't necessarily see that you're there, right? But they might not be paying enough attention either. They're just kind of casually talking. The one that's on the right, who has the reins, is saying, "So, do you think we're gonna get more money for the animals or for the kids?" And the one on the left is, animals sell pretty good, but it's been a long time since we've been able to sell kids. Kids can get a better price if you can find the right buyer. Then the first guy, but who wants to buy a drow? Like, they don't train well, and all that light sensitivity makes them useless during the day. The guy on the left is, well, those little kids with their night vision, they're good for doing some of those less savory tasks. The guy on the right says, "I really hope that they have some nice furs. I got to get one for my wife." And that at about that time, they're kind of like going past you. But they round the bend, and are you gonna like try to catch up with the cart as they're like going, or are you gonna like kind of give them a little bit of a berth to go towards town?
Yeah, I'll give them some space because I remember those two hooded guys were super huge. I've learned.
Did my character hear any of this, or is it still too far off?
You would have heard it as well, because again, these two are big, and they don't really give a shit.
They're bigger than I am. So.
Okay.
But it's hard to say what they look like underneath that towel or underneath that hood.
Heavy breathing is coming from the bush that I'm hiding in. As I heard, I ignored all the things about the kids, but the second the guy goes, "Well, I gotta get my wife some furs," the idea that it's fur from an animal, and you just.
What do you want to do?
I'm going in.
No, you hear that sound literally at your ankles.
Oh, yeah. I came all the way back around to where you're hiding.
Yeah,
I heard
it. Again, it was right on the kind of like on the edge of the road, because that's where he was standing.
So I'm gonna poke it with my feet. I'm gonna like
hit me direct.
Yeah.
I would. You'd hear him. Ah!
Can I tell them?
What was that?
Who is this little thing here? Come out.
Go ahead and describe yourself.
So, what? The head
emerging from the bushes.
Yes, and it is a small gnome who is just like a massive poof of hair, but not styled. In fact, there's little twigs and leaves and everything stuck in it. It's very obviously this thing's lived in the forest for quite some time. It's got very simple clothes on. He looks very innocent, like something you would almost see in like a kid's cartoon style. Very inviting, warm, friendly, cute. He's a fairly younger gnome, at about 95 years old, and he's a little nervous, but he's also on this edge of he's a little upset from what he heard. But now the big giant creature just saw him. At the same time, the giant Clydesdale is right next to him, so he's there's a lot of emotions going through him, but he realizes he's been caught. And so all you see is this poof, a little bit of a head sticking out of the bush, just looking up. And, hi.
pick him up. I attempt to pick him up.
Go ahead.
Bring him back.
Roll a grapple attack. We're doing this.
That's awesome.
13.
What's your AC?
AC's 17, believe it or not.
Oh, I missed with my big old meaty hands.
It's less about strength. It's more about, it's like a little greasy and slippery, and he just kind of works his way out.
What are you doing here?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Just got lost.
Where are you trying to go?
I don't know. Home?
Where is your home?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know. But I don't like the written furs. I like animals. I like fuzzy animals. Who are you?
She's very off-put by this thing. Out of the bush. I don't know what I'm gonna do with you.
You would probably also at some point see like a little chipmunk that's just run up and seems very comfortable sitting on this gnome's shoulder. He just kind of plays with it for a second. And he gets very distracted by this chipmunk and then realizes again, I've just been confronted by this giant thing and I don't know what it is and it might kill me. But for a couple seconds, that chipmunk was the world to him.
I feel like she would think Otter would like you. So, I know where your home is. I can help you find it.
Oh, that'd be great. I'm gonna go home.
Yeah.
Let's go home.
Why don't you... A deception check?
Yep.
Yep. Charisma.
And I will let you do.
Should this be with advantage? Because my character's not exactly the brightest.
Technically,
bulb on the-
technically, this would be with advantage, I believe. So I'll give you advantage.
21.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. You
I mean, if you want to contest it, but like.
No, I think it's yeah. As long as there's any attempt to make it sound real, yeah, he'd be. Oh, yeah, I'll go with.
Yeah, come I come ride the horse. We'll first stop off, and we will wait for my friends, and then we will take you home.
And he books it out of the bush, a couple feet over, and just jumps and bear hugs the leg of the Clydesdale. Thinking that's all, that was what you were saying, basically.
I attempt to grab again.
Yeah, I think this would be uncontested.
Yeah.
But no, wait. So the grapple is uncontested, but I want a strength check against you to see if you can pull him off the Clydesdale.
18.
Armor class 17, so...
No. This is a
contested
contested grapple. So.
For strength?
Yep.
Yeah.
That is a 20. Dirty 20.
Oh, that little fucker is on there.
I guess we could just go like this.
And he's content. He's like...
The horse is like...
He's shaking his legs.
Oh, this is glorious. Okay, so...
There is also a giant battle axe that's way too big for a gnome hanging on his back. So yeah.
The horse gave me some trouble. He can deal with it on his leg.
So there is a dwarf standing guard about 20 or 30 feet like out of the door, right? Like he's not standing in the doorway, he's not standing above the door or the gate. He's like just kind of standing out at the trivia, right where the roads come together. So he can like see down the roads, right? He's kind of at an alerter position, right? Mostly just kind of a light sentry, right? And he sees this Goliath leading a Clydesdale with what looks like a leather weapon pouch attached to the Clydesdale's leg, right? But from the angle that he's at, like the pouch is on the other side,
Yeah.
right? So like you see this confused looking dwarf like trying to like look around through the legs to see what like how you attach this pouch because there's no straps anywhere, right? And it's like the dwarf's wondering, is that like a growth on this horse or like how is there a battle axe? Because he can see the axe like kind of moving there, right? And he's trying to figure out how the fuck that happened.
Yeah.
But it isn't until you get much closer that he like look like he see He sees. Describe the smile on your face right now.
I shot just ear to ear grin, and it's just, it's like the kid who just saw the parent for the first time in like a month or whatever.
God, I love it.
Hugging and squeezing this thing like they're not trying to cut off circulation, but he probably is slowly.
And the dwarf like looks at you like, what kind of weird shit are you into? Doesn't say anything. But certainly gives you the look.
I don't know. I found him like this. Where's the stable?
So you trot right in. So you go through this massive gate, and as you enter and your eyes adjust, the little bit of light that shines through the entryway, it's about, I think it's at this time it's like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, right? So the light is like the door faces due south, so the light is kind of incident across the entryway, but it opens to this kind of a large, not so you're familiar with like creatures and beings that live underground, right? Yeah. And you don't see that it was a carved structure. You see that there are carved structures kind of like built into the walls, but this looks like a largely natural cave, with like a couple of carved structures around the edges. Up high, there are some openings that have like a little landing space, and you see those griffin riders coming in, kind of like, forepaw touching down as they like adjust like to their conditions, and then they kind of just glide in, and they land up high, and then they kind of like glide off to the right, where the cave kind of goes back in, and you see that there is a wall there, like kind of a military guard wall, kind of to your right. In front of you and to the left, there is what appears to be something like somewhere between a poor town and a shanty town, right? Like it is a barter village, is probably maybe the right way to say it. Roll a history check for me. You've never had any encounter with dwarves before, right?
No.
Underground?
No.
Okay.
9. I
9.
don't know.
Okay, so for you, this seems like it seems like maybe there were dwarves. Like these dwarves don't really seem like the most studious of dwarves. They're kind of like putzes, right? Like you would expect more from dwarves.
Yeah.
Right. But what you do see is you see where those holes are in where the griffin's been flying in. You see that they seem to have enough light penetration into this area that there are a couple of trees that look like or green spaces that are growing where the light would be incident enough to like light up a path, right? So it looks like maybe there's a little arc in there that has like some greenness, which is a little bit weird to see underground. But that's what you see. There's a couple of taverns. There is a stable off to your left. It has some standard above ground animals that you've seen in your last couple of days of travel, but it also has some underground riding lizards, as well as a couple of more unique, let's say, riding creatures, right? Like there's a really large slimy snail there. It seems to be laden with stuff. There's a large beetle or two kind of like the what the carnival had. Just a weird smattering of different types of animals that seem to be stabled there. You see carts of like rodents, like larger rodents, rabbits, raccoons, badger, like that type of size, in cages on like a big cart, like a big cart, like a.
And that's sitting outside one of the buildings.
Somebody is taking. They're taking rabbits from like inside this one structure, putting them into cages, and it looks like they are going to be sending them somewhere. Okay. But this is not the cart from the people that you had seen.
Okay.
And you see out in front of this establishment, them selling what are the carcasses of some other small animals. Okay. Roll a Constitution save with disadvantage. You need to beat a 18.
No, 11.
Okay. You get a whiff of something that is fucking delicious. You don't nothing. You don't pick up any smells. Okay. But specifically, you smell something that is delicious.
Has the Clydesdale stopped, or are we still moving?
We're going to the stables, so it depends if we got to the stables yet.
You could get to the stables.
Okay, do I have like some sort of amulet of like Lothar insignia?
I would say that you would have carried one, or you would have.
One.
Your first host would have probably had one, or you would have, when you took that host, you would have gotten one.
Yeah. So I go up to the stable manager and I say, I'd like to stable my horse here. I may be too busy later to come back and get it, but if this insignia is shown, then they are on my behalf coming to fetch my horse. And then I drop off my Clydesdale.
As the Clydesdale stops, barely changing his face or anything, that just turns his head towards wherever that scent is coming from, and finally lets go of the horse. And he just kind of, it's almost like a sleepwalk without his arms out. He's just kind of, he's walking towards whatever that smell is. It just, again, he's just oblivious to the outside world. Just caught up in it.
I started walking. I was like, my gift to Otter, come back.
Smells.
So, yeah, because I think it's funny. So you start speeding up, right? Like as you get closer to the source of this amazing smell. You start to hear a voice that you recognize. In fact, you hear 6 voices that you recognize. It is the dwarven barbarians sitting outside this little cafe eating cakes.
Oh, is it Barbara's rhubarb?
It is Barbara's rhubarb.
I like the name. I don't know the backstory, but I already like the name, so I'm good with it.
And you find yourself walking up, and you just uncontrollably give a silver to the lady behind the counter for one of these little cakes. You eat it, and it is the best rhubarb bar you've ever had as a barbarian from Barbara.
In 2 hands for me. It's small to everyone else, but for me, it's still. And
after you've eaten it, whatever it was that compelled you to go eat it seems to have subsided.
Okay.
But tomorrow you may want another one.
There's a bit of a burp, and then it's kind of almost like a euphoria drunk hangover. He feels for a few moments, and then kind of opens his eyes and
looking around this. So Barbara is Barbara is this very she is a very opulently beautiful woman, but in a very subdued way, right? Like you look at her and you're like, you should totally be royalty. Like just looking at this lady, like she carries herself with this presence of royalty. She like glows with like some level of beauty, and yet she's wearing like not just peasant clothes, but like almost just like rags and leathers. She looks like a barbarian, right? But like, you know, she's got flour on her hands and she's just kind of making cakes, and happily selling cakes to everybody who walks in. She offers you a cake.
I buy several cakes.
Okay.
I think one would be too small.
And you taste it, and to you it seems like just a regular rhubarb cake.
I was lied to.
I mean, it's a delicious rhubarb cake.
Okay.
But it doesn't seem to have the same effect on you as it has on all of the other barbarians as you were looking around the room. There are a lot of
bite, and I'm just like,
there are a lot of battle axes in this room. In fact, there is only one other person that appears to not be a barbarian in this room, and they are a young, like female child. Looks. She looks like she could be drow, but doesn't have quite the right features for it, right? Like maybe a half drow or something, but like maybe part elvish and Duragar. There's just something like weird going on with this little kid, but they seem to be assisting at the bakery.
Okay. I leave.
Okay, are you?
I'm kind of torn because I see a lot of people that look really interesting, but I have the one person who seems at least sort of friendly, so kind of like a worried, like, do I go, do I stay? And then eventually, as I see the Goliath leave, I just scamper and I just chase after.
Okay. What do you want to do?
I am looking.
It's like 4 o'clock in the evening, 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening now, and the cake that you had, it'll probably hold you over for quite some time.
Okay.
You're not hungry at all.
Looking for a new host.
Okay.
I am trying to scope out someone that seems not of small stature, so like medium to large size creature, and that has some sort of capability in something at this point.
Okay, so explain to me how you're going to do this scoping. Like, what is your hunting tactic here?
Well, right now, since I'm just like big, I can like scan pretty far, so I'm just gonna be walking and taking a look, and then after I find someone, then I'll be more sneaky.
Okay,
But,
so you're just kind of
we're gonna wait for that.
you're walking kind of down the streets.
Yeah.
To see what's going on. Okay. So I'll pull out the map here. Okay, so here is here's the entrance, and here is
I look behind me and I see if you're falling behind or not.
You wouldn't even have to look down. You would just see this battle axe that's a good 2.5, 3 feet taller than me, just as I take steps. It's just swaying back and forth. Again, there's no way I should be able to grab this axe and swing it.
Here is kind of the layout of the town. Can you see over that?
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys have wait, I got a laser pointer. You guys have come in over here. This is kind of the gate entrance. Here is the stable. Here is Barbara's. These little blobs here are the trees. Kind of over here would be that military wall. where the griffins house back here,
Mm-hmm.
and the outline kind of here is, roughly where the edge of these buildings are.
Okay.
So looking down the road this way, you see at the end a very large arch that seems to be leading downward, right? Like you've seen that type of arch in just the architecture that you've been exposed to. Clearly, this is more of the entrance to go down, and you see like around the entrance, you see two towers, right, that are guarded. You see that the gate looks like it can be thoroughly closed and locked, and I'm going to say with even your armchair quarterback military experience from your existence, like you recognize that any army that came in here, they would have to go down this road to get to that like entrance, and it's just a kill box.
Yeah.
Right? Like they've been funneled in, and at this point, like you notice, like as you're kind of having this thought that kind of around the entirety of this whole space, you're probably not seeing this because you're seeing like a lot of little weird animals that you've never seen before.
Yes.
You see that there is a walkway that has been built up in places or carved in places, so that there's a patrol that can patrol the entire top of this area, and if they wanted to, they could fire down into this kill area. Okay. So there's not clear if it's constables or just like the regular army, right? But you probably don't want to be seen if you're doing something illegal by those folks. So as you get to there, looking down this street here, it is far more narrow. But kind of down the main corridor there's a number of like trade shops, right? Where how to explain this? It feels very much kind of like the black market area that you had been in recently. You get the sense that this is an area where folks can trade with the surface without ever having to go outside. But it's not like hasn't been brought into the city yet. So you're not sure how like somebody would conceal it from here past, like if they were going to get inspected at the gates. But you get the sense that people would come up here to purchase illegal goods in some of these back alleys, because some of them are not only darkly lit, they have a lot of like ways to like hide you, right? But looking for individuals that you could commandeer.
Yes.
And I'm guessing you would be just on the lookout for fuzzies.
Kind of. I would say at some point I would kind of catch up real quick, and you would feel a little poke at, I guess, maybe the ankle, maybe the calf. I don't know exactly, but just repeated, just poking your leg.
What is that little thing?
I'm just looking up. Name?
I am Anansi.
Anansi.
And you, little thing?
I'm a Ginko Biloba.
Ginko Biloba.
Ginko Biloba.
Ginko. Ginko it shall be.
Yes. Yeah. Happy New Year. Is this home?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
We first wait here for companions, then we find your home.
In the middle of that, fuzzy. And he just looks over at some animal in a cage, and
she's like thinking that I'm like okay. So just in case for now, I use my egg sac and I have it produce a rope.
Okay.
I can do that, and I rope you like a child leash.
That's great.
yeah, Ginko's gonna. What's this? This is fun.
So we don't get lost.
Ooh, good idea. Good idea.
Because you got lost before, right?
Oh, I'm good.
Yes.
Yeah. No. I like it. and it's almost fashionable to him. It's kind of like, ooh, this is nice.
It is a. It looks like a white silken rope.
Mm-hmm.
It is not sticky, like as a web would be. Like you see her kind of pull it, like she has this itty bitty little thing,
Yeah.
and she like kind of grabs it and like starts pulling, and like it's coming out like the size of a thumb.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's huge, and like she's pulling it out of something, not much bigger than this dice.
Yes.
Right. Like so, just like all of a sudden, like it's just an endless rope coming out.
Yep.
So you've got. How are you holding your end of the rope?
Like you would with the dog leash, it's like multiple times and then in like fist attacks.
Okay, so
I got a pet for Otter.
And-
like I can keep him on the leash.
yeah.
Ginko is so enamored, and it's almost like he slowly doesn't realize he's entangling himself into this webbing rope.
Yeah, this is great. Okay, so as you're kind of like walking and looking for big people with skills, a frail-looking old man, kind of dressed in like tatters, right? Like could be homeless, or whatever house he has is probably just like a couple slabs of wood. Looks super duper poor, right? Comes up and says, "Would you like to buy directions to the slavers' market for your wares?"
Sure.
2 gold.
I give him like a downstairs like that, like
1 gold would be fine. 1 gold would be fine.
how many silvers do I hold?
10.
5 silver.
You feel more pumpkin at your leg.
What? Dickle.
Ginko.
5 is good.
Okay.
It takes the 5 silver.
But he's holding it, and he's got a little gold coin.
No.
And he starts rubbing up against the coin.
I would love to
Nope.
have it.
No. Here is your 5 silver pieces.
And he looks. And he looks. He's looking back.
Keep
It's
it.
like,
Gringo. Ginko.
Ginko.
We need like a name. Ginko.
So he right this way, and he like slowly shambles. I want to say ambles, but I feel like that's not the right word, so we're gonna say shambles. But he is moving very slowly. You can tell, like, from his movements, he is an old, frail dude.
Okay.
But he kind of sneaks around there's a little bit of corner, and you swear to God, like, he just walks right into a wall. Like, he walks right through the wall, but then you, like, adjust your perspective just enough to see that the way that the stonework is crafted there, like, the lines line up so well that the hole that's there, like, is completely hidden.
Yep.
Right? Optical illusion of sorts.
Yeah.
And he brings you in, and it's a little narrow passage, big enough. I mean, not narrow, but like maybe, I don't know, 6-7 feet wide, right? Like it's not. You're not squinched, but you don't have a lot of room.
Yeah.
And it goes down, and then it kind of like makes a little bit of like a downward like angle, and you start like feeling like you're heading down. Excuse me. Feel like you're heading down, and then you realize you actually are heading down, and you like go under like a floor of like a little structure, right? Like there's a little bit of a hill, and you have to duck down, but now you're kind of like in a tunnel inside this cave, and it opens up like to a large like, how do I say this? It opens up almost to like a coliseum of sorts, where like what you have gone down feels like it was maybe a service entrance into this like other space. But being in here, I need you to roll a history check or an arcana check with advantage. The number you need to hit is, let's say, 10.
Nope, that's a 1 and a 6. She's not smart about a lot of things. So.
Yeah, no.
That's not her strong suit.
That is crazy. So I want you to additionally roll, and you also, for you, I want like a nature check, or a history check.
I mean, nature would probably be more of an accurate thing. Regular or disadvantage?
It would be, I would say it's just regular.
Okay. That is a 17.
Okay. So something about this feels familiar to you.
Okay.
You, like, the rock trees that are here.
Yeah.
Like, you've seen them before. Like, from your childhood, right? Like, long time ago, you saw something that looks like this.
Okay.
It wasn't here. It was outside. There were lots of trees.
Yeah.
In fact, the trees like seem to be like growing around the rock pillars.
Yeah. You still hear a little bit.
But you both notice that the rock here, the stonework, completely different. Mm-hmm. So it is largely it's largely like a volcanic like cave, or like volcanic granite, like gray style rock. Here, however, it seems to be polished marble, right? And it's weird that like this space would have like polished marble.
I know. I'm there like, this is supposed to be shady, seedy, why so fancy?
But you do see now in this space, you see a couple little like there's parts where like the marble has been torn up, and like dwarves have built little like longhouses, and you see a number of dwarves and the cart from before.
That's right.
This is the cart from.
This is the cart that you saw on the
trail.
On the trail.
With the big guys.
So that is an exterior wall.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like a walkway up there.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, I'm gonna say these guys hanging out here. You do not see the two big guys.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got a thing for some stuff and things.
Did you say there's anything in the cart at the moment, or?
Cart appears to be empty.
Okay.
However, nearby there is a large cage.
I see that.
And put these in the cage.
Last time I saw this cage, there wasn't anything good in it.
Drop that in the cage. And if you would, sir, I'll give you. Oh, perfect. Let's use those dice too. I've got some dice with little animal pictures on it, so we're going to use those.
Yes.
So here, I'll put some. You see a number of cages over here that have little animals. There's that other one right here. I got these at the Wall Drug, I believe.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
The little buffaloes.
Yeah.
These are going to be like some. So these are like lynx style cats. These are, let's say, mink, or like, there's a couple mink, there's a couple of beaver there.
Okay.
They're not that. So above game, they are creatures that you would use for fur.
Yeah.
For like that type of creature.
Yes.
The ones that are buffalo dice, those are let's say that they are exotic looking larger beasts, but they have 6 legs. They're not from around here, but they seem to be relatively docile, and like they look like they probably eat plants, not people. They're not like caged. They're like tethered.
They look like riding animals.
Maybe more like pack animals.
Okay.
They're probably too big to be a riding animal.
Do they have hair, fur, scales, bare skin?
They are furry.
Furry.
Like
Okay.
like a yak.
Okay.
Let's say they are a 6-legged yak.
Okay. All right.
Okay, but more like the size of a large dog.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Okay.
it's a weird little creature. 6-legged yak.
Yes.
Yak. Okay. And where you guys have come in would be. So you got your mini somewhere?
Yep. Right.
Okay. And you got your mini somewhere?
Mm-hmm.
So I got your mini somewhere? I do got your mini somewhere. You got a blue?
Oh, yeah, that's me.
Is that right there?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so let's say that you guys have come in through your entrance right over there. And let's say that this is the old guy.
He's in front. I'm
Yeah.
assuming right?
But he says, right over there. And like quickly turns around and skedaddles back out.
Okay.
Doesn't want to be around for this. So what do you want to do?
So we don't see this over here is all empty looking. There, right in front of us.
So there is a there's a roof over this structure here, but seemingly no entrance.
Okay.
Take that walkway thing away. You're gonna just hand me that. It shouldn't be here. And kind of that's what you see in this opening.
Okay.
There is another wall. Another wall. Let's say kind of right here in front of you.
Okay.
For like.
Yeah.
I'll move it so that it's not in your way, but
Yeah.
kind of like right here is where this wall is.
Got a back wall here, and then what does this building look like?
It just looks like a long, skinny house.
Well, I'm gonna walk over towards this cage here.
Okay.
And what's over?
As she's walking, Ginko is kind of getting more dragged almost because he is completely focused on any of the
Animals.
furry animals.
Yep.
He's just furries.
Okay.
Furries are friends.
So here, let's do.
Multiple times he'll stumble because the rope hits that point. Then he kind of gets up and he's getting dragged more than anything else.
Here, let's say that this is the rope to give you guys a distance.
That works.
There you go. Perfect.